Hi again guys, and welcome to another speed build, obviously for Forza Horizon 4, this time for a very highly requested car, the Bugatti Chiron, but to be honest it's a vehicle which I kind of put off for a while because it's a little underwhelming, to be honest, in a similar way to the Venom GT, which you can't really upgrade the power on. You can improve the performance in terms of handling and acceleration, but not really top-end speed, which is kind of an issue obviously when it's a hypercar. But for those who do want to use the car and are Bugatti fans, for instance, then of course we can take a look at this tune anyway so that you at least have one to work with. Now, as far as the tuning on the car goes, as far as the upgrades, it's fairly obvious. You can't swap the engine out, you can't increase the power at all. You've already got around 1500 horsepower anyway, of course, which is great. But it means that the performance for top-end speed doesn't change all that much, at least not compared to what you'd probably assume. Now, if you're looking purely for bang for buck, you're actually better off going for either the Veyron Super Sport, or even more so the EB110, because the EB110 is far faster, and I will be dropping a tune for that one, possibly even tomorrow here on the channel as well. Now, as far as handling goes, there's a major improvement over stock, partially because of the tuning, and partially just because you drop the weight so much. Now, as far as the performance, you can see 2.3 to 60, 4.2 to 100. Those are both pretty good. Top speed of 269 doesn't sound as impressive. Now, you can actually get it to go a little bit higher than that benchmark. It can actually do about 270. So again, it's not that it's slow, not by any means. It's just not as quick as many people probably expect it to be. Another perfect example is the Koenigsegg 1-to-1, which is, yes, very quick, but it's nowhere near as quick as many people assume it's going to be when fully tuned because of the same thing. Just like the Venom, just like the Ultimate Aero, if that were brought back as well, they don't allow you to upgrade the power for some reason on these certain cars. Now, as far as the gearbox goes, I'd recommend a final drive, first of all, as you can see, of 2.75. Now, as far as the rest of the gears, they're pretty simple to work with. For first gear, you want 3.15, then 2.2, 1.65, 1.3, 1.07, 0.90 and 0.76. Then as far as the alignment, it's already all-wheel drive even, so obviously neutral camber, neutral toe as well. I've gone for 4 degrees of caster. You could take it lower because it's a heavier vehicle, but of course that's down to you. You could even take it up to 7, try that out as well for your personal handling style. As far as the alignment on this or the anti-roll I should say, not the alignment, we've got 25 and 35. Then as far as the springs, 115, 170 and the lowest ride height. For the dampers, 10, 14, 5 and 6. The aero of course doesn't apply. You can fit the chin splitter on this one to get it up into Group X, but it's not necessarily needed. Of course it's not ideal for top end speed anyway. That's just if you want it in Group X. Otherwise, S2 I would say is better overall anyway. I have incidentally put this tune as well on my storefront. Now for the diff, as you can see, we've got 100% on everything. Then for the braking balance, 70%, which is actually lower than it was originally. It's actually over 80%, and you could take it higher toward the back if you want to, if you find it to be still a little bit too heavy through corners. I find that works pretty well on this setting, but of course after all of the tuning, and as I said this is on my storefront if you want to use the keywords in the description or use my gamer tag to find it, either way you can. But what you want to see is what this car can do in action. Now, as I said earlier, it's not that the Chiron is slow. Not by any means. It's extremely quick. Of course, by supercar standards, by hypercar standards, it gets up to the top speed in pretty good time. The handling in particular is a lot more loose and a lot more competitive than stock, which is no surprise there. You'd hope it would be. But even then, it's just not a car that I can recommend all that much. And as I said, that's one of the reasons why I put off doing the tune for a little bit longer than many people would have assumed. It's not a bad car, it's just not really that much of a huge jump over the Veyron in terms of its tuning potential. Of course, in the real world, it's different in a number of ways, but in the game, it's just so similar. And yet, this is in effect the base model of the Chiron compared to the Super Sport, which is the ultimate version of the Veyron. That one is quicker than this by about 2 miles per hour, and the EB110 is far quicker than both of them, around 282. So I'd recommend the EB110, but if you want to use this one, of course, I hope you have a lot of fun with it. And you can click right here on screen to see all of my other tunes. But for now, as always, thanks for watching.